What's up, guys? It's Rey-Jay back with another video. And in this one, I want to break down something with SPY, Tesla, and a couple of other tickers. I'm going to break down something with the market moving forward and talk about some very important levels. But please note that I am not a financial planner. Make sure you take nothing I say as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please smash the like button. It not only benefits me, it benefits the entire community as a whole. Anyways, what's happening with the market right now? I'm going to give you guys a very, very quick update. SPY is currently on the 1 hour time frame testing its 20 EMA 558.25, and the question is what's going to happen from here in my personal opinion. So we pushed higher. We actually did go a little bit higher. I was talking about that yesterday, how we might see a little bit more upside in the markets temporarily, and we did go up to the 560.9 area. We went almost up to about 561. So SPY pushed initially, but I warned everyone to be careful because from what I was seeing in the pre-market, the 560 area had tough resistance, and I was worried that SPY would get a rejection. So we had to hold 560 to remain bullish. If we didn't hold it, we would see a move down. And lo and behold, we did not hold 560, and the move down ended up coming. So what's going to happen from here? One thing worth mentioning is the fact that in about 11 minutes from now, we have the 42-day bill auctions coming out at 11:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Might cause some volatility for the markets. Then we have Bostic and Barr giving speeches from the Fed. Whatever they say may cause some volatility, so watch for that as well. And with that being said, let's talk about the markets now. So right now, we are looking a little bit weaker on SPY, the QQQ, and the others, and there is a risk of us dipping a little bit more, but it depends on this support right here. 558.26 is where our 20 EMA is on the 1 hour time frame. If that ends up breaking, if we end up like kind of losing the support right here, I'd basically be looking for the 556s. And then we also happen to have this resistance very close to about right over here at just under 560. So I see a risk of us dipping a little bit lower if we lose the 20 EMA. So I'll be watching this like very, very carefully. But just note that there is a risk of some downside looking at this big red bar that formed. Also the fact that we are contracting on the 4 hour time frame. So if you look at the 4 hour just like this, we are kind of slowing down right here. So I do see a risk of us dipping just a little bit. So I just want to give you guys a heads up about that. So be very careful. Watch 558.25 as our support. If we lose that support at 558.25, I think that we could get very close to the 556 area. And the reason that's significant is because that's where the breakout happened right over here. So I think the 556 is going to be coming if we lose 558.25. Now for resistance, watch 560. If you break that, we turn back to bullish. As of right now, we're kind of stuck between these levels, but I do see a risk of us dipping lower. For other tickers out there, such as ES, in my opinion, is also kind of dipping a little bit. We're going to be looking at 5,600 flats as our supports. If that breaks, we're looking for 5,580. And our resistance happens to be around this 5,625 area. We are looking a little bit more bearish, and I do see a risk of us dipping a little bit more. So be mindful of that, especially as we have the support coming up. For Nvidia had that 130 to 132 areas our resistance. We failed to break through that, so we kind of came back down. We're going to be basically looking at this 126 area as our support. If that does not hold on Nvidia, we're at risk of coming all the way down to at least 123s and eventually 121.5. For resistance, we're going to be looking at 128 flat. If that breaks, I could be looking for a retest of like 129.75. Otherwise, we look a little bit more bearish, and I do think we could dip a little bit on Nvidia, get very close to 126s again. But that's going to be our support, so watch for that. Bitcoin has come back down. We're looking at 59,000 support. If that fails us, we're going back down to 58,000. And we have resistance at 59,400. There is a risk of us dipping, so just be mindful of that. For the QQQ, we have resistance right here around this. I'm just going to double check this 482 area. And then our key supports at 480. If 480 fails us, we're going to be dipping back down towards 478. We'll see if 478 holds on the QQQ. If not, our next target is going to be all the way down here towards the breakout, which will take us down to 475. We could slowly make our way down to 475 and then bounce again. So as of right now, this just looks like, a very, very small pullback. It's not like the market's crashing or anything, guys. I'm not worried whatsoever about that. We're just seeing a very, very small little pullback, very, very healthy. Nothing too crazy, nothing to worry about. For Aapl hit 227 as resistance and our supports at 224. With 227 being hit here, it's possible we dip a little bit lower towards the 224s again, but it's mainly just shuffling, not really doing much. Nvidia made a very, very interesting move, and also the IWM. For the IWM, we came close to filling this gap. We came just short of it. I was hoping we'd hit 216. We came just short, and we came back down. I told you all if we reclaim 216, we'd remain bullish. If not, we'd be looking for 213. And if 213 failed this, we're basically looking for the 210 area. We're still holding above this trend line right here, so we are bullish on Nvidia. We're still on an uptrend. We're just dipping a little bit, and we could still bounce and continue higher later on. But for now, we are testing 212. If that doesn't hold, we're looking for the 210s. Even if we hit the 210s, we could still bounce and remain bullish, so don't worry too much quite yet. Coinbase, let me just double check this. We got to reclaim 204 to turn back up. We are at risk of dipping to about 192, in my opinion, if we don't hold 195. So watch those supports. Could dip a little bit more before it tries to rebound. Look at 200 as resistance. We'll just give it some time. Amazon had resistance at 180. It is possible for this to dip lower towards this trend line right over here. If we do dip a little bit, I'd be basically looking at 175. So look at 178 and 175 as our supports. For Meta, we kind of have like a head and shoulders like structure. Look at 530 as resistance and 526 as our support. We're just shuffling as of right now. If we lose 526, we turn back down. For Microsoft, we have a double top like structure. I'm basically looking at 424 as resistance. If we come back down, look at 422, then 418. And for Google has this top that was forming around this 170 area. We're going to basically be looking at 169 as our supports, and then 168.75, the entire range. If the 168s break, I think that a 166 is coming, so just be mindful of that. I think the market has a risk of a little bit more downside, but it's not going to be too bad, guys. This is not necessarily a crash or anything. It's a temporary little dip. Watch and see how well we hold support. So SPY still is trying to hold support at 558.25, and we'll see if that holds or not. If not, look for the 556s, and then we could try to bounce off that. So it's just a very healthy little retracement, nothing too crazy, and we could bounce later on if we hold support, or if we dip to the next support at 556. We'll see. But for now, just know there is a risk of more downside, and then we'll see how well we hold up from there. With that being said, I just want to say I really appreciate you guys so much for listening. I hope you guys have an absolutely spectacular rest of the day. I'll be back in a couple of hours to give you guys another important update on the markets, and we'll just have to see how things go. One more thing I want to talk about, I forgot to mention this, is the VIX. The VIX is finally starting to bounce, so it's actually holding the support. The VIX could actually push a little bit higher to about 16.23. That makes me suspect that there might be a little bit more downside for the markets because of that. And so just be mindful of that. There is still a risk of a bit more downside. And then we'll have to see how well things hold up. All right, so I'll see you guys in a couple of hours for another update. The market could dip a little bit more, but this is not necessarily a big crash. This is just a healthy pullback for now, and we'll see what this develops into. Thank you for listening. I'll see you guys in a few hours, and peace out.